Hi there, welcome. I'm Bob Thompson, and I'd like to welcome you to the Philanthropic Planner. For those of you who have seen us before, you know that the reason for this show is to share with you, the Philanthropic Planner, on an individual basis, and even advisors, about the importance of philanthropy to the local community, to the state, nationwide, and even globally. We want to simplify the complex of philanthropy, and even though it's a boring subject, we want to talk about it to kind of increase the awareness, to kind of encourage dialogue with you, your family, associates, colleagues, that we talk about the importance of philanthropy in its many forms, whether it's dollars or volunteering. But for those of you who are new, we don't talk about legalese. You don't have to be a multi-millionaire to be a philanthropist. That can come in, like I say, many different forms. Today, we'll kind of abbreviate talking about local, state, and national, because we have a couple of important guests today. But the title for today's program is Impact Philanthropy. The local way. Let me share with you very quickly that this last week, Rob in our office and I went to a luncheon in West Hartford. The Fidelity Charitable Fund was the sponsor for this lunch. And that very evening, Laura and I in the office went over to Torrington, to the Torrington Country Club, and the host there was Northwest Community Foundation. Northwest Community Foundation serves 20 towns in Northwest Connecticut. So I found that was interesting, one day of philanthropy. And prior to that, Laura and I were in Charlotte, where we got another fill of philanthropy. So let's talk about impact philanthropy, the local way. You may recall that years ago, a advertisement in a magazine said, "Charity begins at home. Home is where the heart is. The heart is the community." So when we put that package together, that brings us to our guest today. We have Sarah Ackels and Jarrod Fucci. I messed it up. I told you I would. I told you. Candidly, let me share with you in prefacing my remarks. And they know that we don't rehearse this, okay? So my opening comment is that Sarah and Jarrod represent a very important organization that candidly I didn't know much about. We've been doing this for 9 years, and we work with a lot of charities and nonprofits about what they do, the services that they have. And I picked up a local newspaper, I don't know if it was Valley Press or what have you, and I see a picture of a lot of children in the picture, and who stands out but Sarah? Sarah is here, and Jarrod's here, feeding children everywhere. Sarah, how did you get involved in feeding children everywhere?
A couple months ago, I went to a Feeding Children Everywhere event in Canton, and I had a ton of fun, and I really wanted to do one for myself, and so that everyone in Simsbury could experience it also.
Now, it was in Canton. What kind of function? It was a group for students, or?
It was the Canton Lions Club.
Lions Club, okay.
At the high school.
And they invited other schools, other students?
Yeah, I went through my church, and then as we went as a church, there were other groups there.
Okay.
And then I decided that I wanted other people in Simsbury to be able to do the same thing.
Now, did you know about it before you went, what they do, what they actually do?
Not at all. I had no clue what I was walking into.
So you got excited about it after this meeting?
Yeah.
Tell us. Well, first of all, I guess we have to know what Feeding Children Everywhere is. It's an organization that's Jarrod, only 5 years old, 5 or
Yeah,
6
4
years
years old. Just turned 4 years old on August 24th this year.
Okay. And we were talking before that, is it Don and Kristen Campbell?
Yeah, Don and Kristen Campbell are our founders and founded right out of their home. The first about year of our existence was right around their kitchen table.
Now, you heard me say that I've been doing this for a long time and familiar with charities that have been around 50, 80, 100 years. Mm-hmm. So something as new as 4 years, and it just seems to be snowballing. So what did you end up doing after this meeting in Canton?
Well, at first I thought about it for a while, and I looked up some other charities, and then I went back to Feeding Children Everywhere just because it was fun and just awesome. The way everybody did it themselves, and I had fun, and I know all the people around me had fun, and that's important because if I had not experienced it the way I had that day, I wouldn't have done it.
Now, you were exposed or you knew about charities and what we call philanthropy, Sarah, maybe the church, fundraising in other ways. What are some of the other ways that you've seen before you went to this meeting?
Well, I know that our school, the school that I went to in elementary years, they did lots of food drives for the Immaculate Conception Center in Hartford.
Okay.
And so I would bring in like cans.
Was that a food bank or
a food drive
raising?
to bring to the center? And I was also really intrigued by the thought of hunger because everybody's been hungry before, and everybody has experienced what it's like to feel hungry in your stomach, and then it escalates and you're not happy. But a lot of people don't understand what it's like to be really hungry and skip dinner and skip breakfast and maybe only get a little lunch.
Now, Jarrod, the Campbells, they started this, and I understand Don is a chef, or he's involved in food a lot, and you said it started out of their home. Give us an idea of what the thought process was.
Yeah, so the Campbells have such a passion for food. I mean, I've had the pleasure of having them in my life for a number of years, and it came out of around a table, amazing thing happened. You know, when you talk about a family who sits around a table every day and has a meal, some amazing things happen. And they were identifying in their community, there were some people who were hungry. So he was using his children as almost bait and saying, hey, go find some friends in the community who are hungry, bring them in, and we'll have a meal together. And it turned into kind of a snowball effect, just like you were talking about with how, Sarah, with it's just a snowball effect. And, they brought some people in, and it turned into more and more and more people. And they were saying, okay, there's a real need here. And formerly a contractor by trade, Don decided that it was time, at a response to earthquakes in Haiti a number of years ago, that they really felt called to make a difference, and came home from work one day, sold his business, and told his wife, Kristen, hey, I sold our business today. We're going to start this nonprofit. And that day we were registered as a legal 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay. And the continuation of that story is within 2 or 3 months, they were able to raise monies or whatever for food for Haiti.
Right.
To the, how many thousands of meals?
The first shipment we sent was a quarter of 1,000,000 meals went out to Haiti as a response. So when we ship internationally, big 40-foot shipping container, 900 boxes, floor to ceiling, front to back, that we sent to Haiti as our first shipment. And in our first year of existence, we only did about 6 projects. This year alone, we'll probably get close to the 400 number of projects.
400 projects. So it went from seeing the need in Haiti, sending, now this is after a disaster in
Correct,
Haiti.
yeah, it was a response.
Sending food there, I would guess for not just children, but for everybody there. And then it expanded to other countries?
Yeah, so we send to continents all over the world. And I'll preface that with, we send more of our meals today domestically within the United States. Like Sarah chose that, she said, I want to feed my community. So that's exactly what we did. So today we've packaged about 21 million meals By the close of this week, it'll be close to 22 million meals. And most of that food has stayed right here in the United States.
That's in 1 year, 21 million?
In our existence as 4 years.
Okay. Now, we see this global need, and because of the magic of this crazy TV and internet and cell phones, and you have a cell phone? Mm-hmm. I knew it. These ninth graders, it's seventh graders, sorry. But because of these things, we see things right away. Mm-hmm. The news is right there. So you see that in Africa, you see that in countries that really need food, and that just expanded. Now, they make fun of me because I have to come up with titles for these shows and everything, and impact is what I chose there, the local philanthropy, and what we've seen in some of the organizations that I'm in, and I'm on a board. In fact, it's out of Florida for advisors in philanthropy, and we talk about impact. Mm-hmm. And studies have been made about millennials, and you're close. I mean, you're getting up there in age now. But millennials want impact, and it's not just the established nonprofits and everything. So something like this that Sarah sees, and you have immediate impact locally. So from this development in Florida, it is expanded and blossomed and so on. I did some digging in this crazy internet stuff. And Jarrod, before we got started, you were talking about what's happening this week. But I see things in November, this month, last Friday or Saturday, Scareaway in Windsor, 15,000 meals. Executive Honda in Wallingford, 8,000 meals. Cigna, tomorrow, 250,000 meals. Large corporation, and we'll get into that some more. And that's tomorrow. On the 9th of this month, Huskies fight at Yukon, another 20,000 meals. Mm-hmm. John Driscoll Labor Agency, I'm not familiar with them, but 10,000 meals. Tell me what you did, Sarah. How many meals? 3, 5, 10?
17,568.
Do it again.
17,568.
How did you do this? How do you get the word out for people to contribute dollars?
Yeah. So first we went to local businesses that we knew, and we gave them a letter, and my mom and I explained what we were doing.
Right.
And we asked them for a contribution to help make it happen. And a lot of people said yes, and a lot of people said no, or didn't respond. We raised over $4,000. Our goal was to raise $3,000. And our goal for meal count was 12,000 meals, and we made 17,000.
Wow. Now, was this your original church group that went to Canton that did this?
My original church group, we kind of split up, and it was mainly my mom and I and Jarrod and Feeding Children Everywhere that made this event happen, and along with all of the people that donated.
Now, do you help organize? You're a regional, I won't say a rep, but a regional representative of the national organization. Yeah. You help groups like Sarah's do what other people have done successfully, or?
Yeah, so what I do and what we do in our regional offices, so I serve as a regional manager. So I manage really everything kind of northeast over to kind of the Chicago area and then the Carolinas up. And what I do is we get to meet amazing people like Sarah or a Cigna or an Executive Honda or a church even, and they say, we want to do this. And my job is to empower them to make impact, kind of like we're talking about, and say, you know, on our end, we're going to do these things to help you. We've seen this work. We've seen this not work. And Sarah kind of took those things where she said, I know I want to do this. What's worked? And we kind of came together to say, okay, this is a plan we're going to take. So we help create like a pathway, if you will, to help our hosts succeed.
Track to run on. Yeah.
Right.
What would there's no such thing as average, so I apologize for asking. What would the average small business owner that responded yes, how much would they give you?
A couple of businesses gave me $25.
Okay.
One gave me $100. Two gave me $500.
Wow.
And then Keller Williams actually had a bunch of their realtors collect money, and then they donated a lot of funds. I lost count because the Feeding Children Everywhere website, I got a site on it where it was just an online contribution.
So they can do that through the
Yeah.
site. Now, you must be a good salesperson, okay? That's
is.
good. That's good. And in any sales, you have to believe in what you're out there talking about and feel the passion. And what you said about being hungry, that permeates and sends a signal to everybody. Now, what do you want to do? You've been successful in this project. You raised 17,600 or 500. What was that figure again?
17,568 meals.
I knew you'd have it. Let me ask you this. What does $1 or what does $10, how many meals does that buy?
$1 is equal to 4 meals.
4 meals.
Yeah.
And one thing that was interesting is we're talking about healthy food for hungry children, right?
Yeah.
Healthy food. Now, Jarrod, you mentioned these pallets and these packets and everything that are shipped all over. These are packaged food things. What would be in a packet?
Yeah, so we package one meal here at Feeding Children Everywhere that we found to be the healthiest, most efficient meal that's accepted everywhere. So it's baseline, a lentil casserole is what we identify it as. So there's pink Himalayan sea salt, which is great for your mind, great for your body. We use a 6 dehydrated vegetable blend, great for nutrition. A dehydrated vegetable, just as healthy as a carrot you pull straight from the ground.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we use a white rice, which is a universal food. Almost anyone in the world that sees white rice says, oh, I know what that is. I can eat that. And then we also use a lentil, which is similar to a bean. A lentil is a legume, so kind of like a peanut. But we use a lentil casserole is exactly what we package. And sometimes a 3-meal bag, a 6-meal bag, a 12-meal bag, a 24-meal bag sometimes, just depending on where we're going to send it. We packed 6-meal portions at your project or 3-meal portions? 3-meal portions at her project. So depending on distribution and number of participants at the event.
Does it vary domestically as what's the food in the packet?
Nope, it's always the same exact
always the
meal.
same.
So we find that of any meal that we can package, it suits the American palate so well. It is so tasty. In fact, at Sarah's event, they cooked some of it in the kitchen at the church. And so at the end, the conclusion of the project, people got to try it. And it is so incredibly tasty compared to canned food or something you can get that may taste good, but not great health-wise.
Nutritionally, yeah.
Right.
So I should have called you before and told you I didn't have lunch so you could bring me a packet? Huh?
Yeah. It's part of the reason why I wanted to do it through Feeding Children Everywhere is because at the event that I went to a couple months ago, they had a big pot of it and they were serving it out to everybody and it was really good. And so I knew that when I was packaging the meals, I wasn't giving people food that they wouldn't want to eat.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Well, and that's important because once they taste it and they've participated in that, they're not reluctant to do it again and again.
Absolutely.
Now, we're all familiar with the national program of lunches for school children and that type of thing, and that's been very successful. And here we're talking about, in addition to possibly an evening meal or something like that.
Yeah, so sometimes our meal is what it accompanies a free and reduced lunch. So we distribute in the United States primarily through schools because we know an educator and a parent are the two most likely to identify a need in a student or in a child.
Right.
So when we identify a school who has a need where there's a large rate of free and reduced lunch, right now we're looking at a lot of reduced lunch. Free lunch is there's no increase in the amount of free lunch that's existing in the United States. It's a lot more reduced just because it's not able.
Reduced, yeah.
Yeah, so, what happens is our meal is great to go home. So it gets dropped in a backpack, picked up in a food pantry that runs through the school system, and they're having a dinner. They might be having it for breakfast so that when they're coming to school, they're not hungry. Because when they go out of school hungry, all they're thinking about is when is lunch.
Right.
They're not listening to anything that happens in that first portion of the day. So, Sarah didn't just provide someone with a meal. It's an education. It's the empowerment to succeed. That
A better student.
a better student.
A healthy student's a better student.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask, and I don't have to have the details, but I was impressed that not just Cigna locally, but via AIG and some of these large companies, are you responsible for contacting corporations to present the program?
Yeah, so it happens a little bit both ways. The number one way that people hear about us is through word of mouth. So someone who came to, we'll use Sarah's event for an example. Someone who works with AIG or someone who works with Voya comes to Sarah's event and says, wow, this would be great at my organization. Or a Cigna came from a cold call where one of our interns called and said, hey, we have this great program. I think it would work really wonderfully for your employees. Would you give us a try? And so sometimes they work through that. So it's primarily myself, Don Campbell, or some other folks on our team who are working through those relationships and saying, this is what we can do for you. We provide a turnkey system for you guys to make a huge impact in the global spectrum.
Yeah. Now, you said Campbell was coming tomorrow for the Cigna program?
He will be here tomorrow. Yep, we set up tomorrow night. So he'll be here bright and early tomorrow to be here through setup. And, when we have these great stewards, I really call them, it's great when we can have Don come out and just connect with them and just be there. The Cigna CEO who will be present at the project doesn't make it out to a lot of things. He's a busy person. He's the CEO of Cigna, but he'll be there because he believes in what we're doing.
Now, that means Aetna, Travelers, HIG, you people out there, it's a great message that we talk about, but what are we doing? What are we doing? Impact the local way. These things start with the community. And we see a parent or an officer, a director of a corporation, or an attorney, or somebody out there that's working in this and saying, this is good. And again, I have to tell you, before I saw your picture in the paper, okay, and I visited with your mother at a soccer game or something. Your mother doesn't like to talk either. You take after her, I think, right? This is an important message, and the fact that it's so young in the scheme of things, okay, that we can. Now, I kind of expected you to come not nicely dressed like this, but a T-shirt that says, my shirt fed 10 people or something like that, or 10 meals. You don't have that shirt?
I do have that shirt.
Come on. I got to get one myself.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
For
so
the shirt, it feeds
40.
40. Yeah.
40?
Yeah. So this shirt feeds 40. We sell them at all of our projects. It costs us $10 to make, and we sell them for 20. So the $10 equals 40 meals. So that shirt fed 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's neat. So what do you want to do next after this? You want to raise it again, or what are your thoughts now? I know I keep saying 9th grade, she's in 7th grade. You have any idea that you want to do something crazy like this when you go to college or get out of college? What do you want to do after school?
I'm not quite sure yet. I definitely want to take the path of helping other people, and because I believe that it's not fair that some people are hungry and some people don't have a house to live in, when other people eat big feasts every meal and complain that maybe their sandwich is soggy or whatever.
They complain about something small.
Like that.
Yeah. We take it for granted. We take it for granted. We live in a wonderful community here, and I saw some big. In fact, it was in a Chronicle of Philanthropy. The increase in giving in New York Food Bank had a big percentage increase, and one of the things that they did was they went to executives of large corporations and had tour buses, and they took these executives to areas that really people are in need, and that's how we find out about the need. Sometimes we have to see it firsthand. So anything else you want to say before you we're going to have you back. We're going to the next project that you have and so on. Anything else you want to say?
Well, our website, Sarah Stops Hunger website just aired.
Thank you for asking that. Website. Say it again.
sarahstopshunger.com. Straight out.
sarahstopshungry.com.
Hunger.
Okay. Jarrod, what are you doing, babe? Here's a poor guy that moves from Florida, and it's going to snow tonight. He doesn't know that.
Yeah.
You like what you're doing?
I love what I'm doing. I have the best job in the world. I get to, this week is an 800,000 meal week for us. We'll work with close to 3,000 volunteers. And
800,000 meals where this week?
we are in 4 different states. We have 2
This is your region?
No, this is all over the country.
Okay, gotcha.
So nationwide, we'll do 800,000 meals this week, 3,000 participants. And the greatest part of my role at Feeding Children Everywhere is getting to interact with people like Sarah and finding people who believe in what we do, who want to make a difference. It's really impact through action. So they feel impacted, they want to create an impact, and it's through action. Sarah didn't say, wow, this was really cool, and then keep on moving. She said, I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's, whether it's, someone in 7th grade or it's an executive at Cigna.
Right.
It's the greatest role in the world.
I congratulate both of you.
Thank you.
I think what you're doing with this organization and what you're giving back to the community, I think it's wonderful. So keep doing it, all right? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
See you later. Watch that football game or whatever you're going to do. Is you switch and surf and do all that crazy stuff. Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.